Hey, it's your girl Chab, and today I'm coming at you with a makeup 101. Ooh, does anyone get where that reference is coming from? Zoe 101, guys, come on. Hello? Where my millennials at? Where my 90s kids at? Wait, no, this came out in like the 2000s. Whatever, okay? Some of my girls and boys out there don't know how to apply their eyeshadow. Hashtag love wins. So I have this easy peasy makeup 101 here. I'm gonna be showing you how to blend your eyeshadow and how to apply your eyeshadow. I have different brushes right here that are going to do different things, guys. And then more up there, arriba. But I'm gonna be explaining in the video, and we're gonna be looking glam, but at the same time not too glam. We don't want to be trying too hard, and hopefully this will help you in your makeup endeavors. So if you want to know how to blend your eyeshadow and apply it with your girl Chab, that's me, I'm Chab, then let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna do a very simple eye look today, pretty much what you saw in the very beginning of the video. Okay, I'm gonna start out by priming the eye. So usually what I like to do is I'll put like eye primer and then I'll put a concealer over top, but because my eyelids have been really dry lately, I'm gonna just go in with concealer just to cover up like any kind of redness and stuff. Right now it's not too red because I did put a little bit of concealer because I was doing my brows and making them look flaky. But today I'm gonna be using the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Concealer and Contour. I'm gonna be taking the concealer, and what I'm gonna do is just dot a little bit on my eyelid right there, and that's gonna prime the lid. And pretty much what brush am I gonna be using? Well, I'll be using a synthetic brush. So you could essentially just use your finger and just dot it. So I'm gonna do that on the other side. But for this eye right here, I'm gonna be taking a synthetic brush, and I'm gonna be using the E.L.F. eyeshadow C brush right here. And it's just a small little packing brush. And what I'm gonna do is just blend it out. And the reason I'm using a synthetic brush is because this will distribute creams and things a lot better than a natural hair brush. I feel like it'll absorb too much of it and then it'll make it look streaky. This will make it look nice and super smooth, super smooth. So I'm just blending this out so the color is not too concentrated on the center, and I'll bring it up a little bit on the eyebrow. All right, so as you can see, this eye is fully primed. So before I do anything to the other eye, I'm going to set my concealer down just so it doesn't slip and slide and move around. So I'm going to set my concealer with a different brush right here, and I'm going to be using the E.L.F. finishing powder, and this is in the shade Light Medium. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this nice fluffy, this is a natural hair brush. With natural hair brushes, it is good to use with powders because it's going to pick up the product and it's not going to distribute them too concentrated. This one's a little bit more fluffy because I don't want to pack this down too much, but I just want to dust it and set everything so nothing moves around. And this step is really important because you don't want a sticky base to be blending on, otherwise it is going to grab on the parts that have a little more moisture, and you just want to make sure that everything is kind of set so everything can blend smoothly. So I'm gonna do the other eye, and like I said, I'll be using my finger to blend out on the other side. You definitely don't need a ton of brushes. I would say definitely if you want to dabble a little bit more in your makeup game, then invest in some brushes. Morphe's got some good inexpensive brushes. E.L.F. girl, I got a ton of E.L.F. brushes, and that is my junk right there. I'm taking God's gift, which is my hand, and I'm going to just blend the concealer out. Alright, so now that it's blended out, I'm going to take my brush. You kind of need a brush to set your concealers with a powder because you can't really pick up a powder with your fingers. I mean, you could, but it's going to look funky. Let's take our brush and just set the lid. Alright, so now we're gonna get to the juicy part right here. I'm gonna be doing a really super simple eye so that way I can give you like the basics on how to blend and how to apply your eyeshadow. So depending on the size of your brush is going to be how it applies, obviously. So let me show you a couple of blending brushes that I will be using today for this eye look. First brush I'm gonna start off with is going to be the Morphe E23, and this is a nice fluffy kind of dome foam blending brush, and you could tell this is a blending brush because when you pick up a color, it is going to kind of distribute it because it's kind of a little more fanned out versus a brush like this right here where it is a little bit smaller and nicer. This one will pack in a little more color and distribute it a little more concentrated in the areas that you want to, versus this will cover like more area. Like you see how big this jump is. So I'm actually going to take this brush first, and I'm going to take a shade from my little palette right here. I have a palette that I made. It has a bunch of Inglot eyeshadows. Inglot is like my favorite junk. Hashtag not sponsor, but I love me some Inglot shadows. They're inexpensive and they're really nice. So I'm gonna do just a nice easy warm look, and definitely you can use palettes from the drugstore. You don't have to, I mean, like I said, these eyeshadows are pretty inexpensive, but you can also use palettes that are more obtainable. I got this from the Inglot store. If you don't have an Inglot store near you, then you may have to order online, but these Jones are the bomb.com. Anyway, so depending on your skin tone is what color you're gonna use first. And for me, because I'm a fairly light complexion here, even though I did put a little bit of bronzer and a little bit tanner because I use a tanner foundation. You can't tell right here, but I put a bunch of foundation on my chest right here. But anyway, I'm gonna take a shade that is pretty light, not the same as my skin color, but it's pretty light, and this is what we call a transition color. This is gonna be like a base for our eyeshadows because once we add darker colors, it'll blend in seamlessly and you're not blending and blending and blending and like ripping your eyelids off. That's really graphic. Basically, with your eyeshadows, you always want to start off with the light colors first and then work your way gradually to the darker colors. And I really wish I knew that when I was first starting off doing makeup and dabbling in the art of makeup, because your girl will take a dark brown and just go like this for like 30 years of blending. So anyway, we're gonna start off with this light color. For me, I will be using the Inglot eyeshadow in the shade 612, and I'm gonna take it on this fluffy brush right here. Pretty much I'm just going to grab some on the brush. So we got a little bit right here. I'm gonna tap a little bit. Now, the reason why I tap off my brush is sometimes when you pick up the color, you're picking up a little too much and you don't want it to be patchy. The less color you have on here, but like the evenly distributed it is on the brush, the more distributed it'll be on the eye. Did that make sense? So I'm gonna take a little bit, tap off, and then I'm gonna start with my crease right here. So my crease kind of like starts right here because I have hooded eyes. So when I look straight, we got a hood. So I'm gonna look up a little bit like this, and I'm gonna start right up here. So it'll look like that. Let me explain the way I blend. So what I do is I like to pick up some of the color, and as you can see, you can barely see anything. I mean, for me, it shows up as like this light peachy color, but for y'all, it's gonna be like, Chab, you're wasting your freaking time. Look, it's a process, y'all. It is a process. So what I do when I blend is I do windshield wiper motion, so like back and forth like that. And you just do that on the crease like so. If you want to take it out a little bit more, the flick of the wrist area, you can. Yeah, it's literally just back and forth, and you just keep doing that. And sometimes what I like to do is if you have a lot of eye space like I do, like from here up, it's just like a lot of room where I can play around, I can do whatever. I like to do a little bit of this right here. So I'm like swirling it a little bit because I'm kind of taking it up a little bit more. You don't have to do that, especially if you don't have the same kind of eye shape as I do, but that's what I do. So I sometimes like to do a little bit of this. Especially if you don't want it streaky, like back and forth like that, you could definitely go like boom, 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 boom. Now, because we're moving from lighter to darker, I'm gonna take a slightly darker shade. It is definitely still a little bit light. And like I said, depending on your skin color, it's gonna be a different color for you all, y'all. But this is, like I said, a super natural eye. So next color I will be taking, again, the Inglot Freedom System eyeshadows, and I'm gonna be taking the shade 285, which is a nice little taupey brown color right here. I'm gonna take it on the same brush. You know why? Because I feel like sometimes when you're mixing the color that you put on previously with another color, it kind of meshes it together and gradates into a softer color and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is take the same brush, tap, tap, and I'm gonna do the same motion, but I'm gonna take it just a little bit lower. So you know how we were taking it right here? I'm gonna go just like a tiny bit lower right on my crease, and I'm just gonna go back and forth like that again. Now I'm not gonna do the swirly swirly. I'm just gonna go back and forth like so. And we're almost almost kind of like contouring the eye. And I will be explaining how to do contour in a different makeup 101 video, so don't worry about that. It's coming soon. As you can see, more color is coming into play. You see how the crease is deepening just a little bit, and that's what I'm doing. And you're pretty much just gonna add more and more until you get the depth that you like. So I'm gonna do that. So you notice how this one's a little bit darker, has a little bit more shadow than this one right here. So I'm gonna do it on the other side too. Alright, so we have like our base color. Now, if you feel like the very first step with the lighter color is a waste of time, you could definitely skip it and go with this. But I kind of just like that little barrier between how I set my eyes and then having another eyeshadow there. It just blends a little bit better for me personally. So I'm gonna take a different brush now, and it's a little more concentrated. So here's the first brush right here. This is, again, the Morphe E23, very inexpensive brush. Get on morphebrushes.com. Use code, I don't have a code. I used a fluffy brush right here to distribute my base colors here. So now we're gonna start deepening it a little bit more. So I have a brush right here. As you can see, there is a difference. Now looking at color right now, okay, we're looking at the shape of the brushes. So for this brush, you see is a little more fluffy, a little more like wide up top. But then this brush right here is a little more pointed. It is still pretty fluffy, but as you can see, it kind of like tapers out to a point like that. And so what I'm gonna do is use this on the outer corners and bring it up to about right here on my lid. And we're gonna take a different color. We're gonna take a darker brown. I'm gonna be taking this color right here, and this is in the shade 299, and is a nice like a rusty brown color right here, and that is going to deepen up the crease. Pretty much this is gonna be the darker color that we are using for the eye look right here. I don't wanna go any darker than this because this is just a simple everyday eye look. So I'm gonna take a little bit on my brush here, and again, tap off your brush, because again, especially with the darker colors, you don't want to apply too much on the brush, otherwise it becomes patchy and it's really hard to blend out. So make sure you take a little bit at a time and be very careful. So what I'm going to do is focus this on the outer corners, and pretty much what you do is I will start to swirl it on the outer edge right here. You see how we're gaining a little bit of definition right there, but then I'm also going to take it up to the crease, and again, windshield wiper motions. Hashtag we are not driving a car, we are driving this eyeshadow to the gods. I'm gonna stop right in the center, and reason why is we're kind of contouring the eye. We are trying to create kind of like a shadow with our eyeshadow. So I'm just taking it right here. And if for some reason your eyeshadow gets a little too blotchy, definitely go back in with your other brush. And I mean, I don't feel like it's blotchy for me right now, but if you feel like for some reason it's too heavy for you, you could take your old brush and just go in and soften it up. And pretty much you go over the whole entire area that you covered. And look, I'm gonna deepen it up a little bit more. I'm kind of doing like circular motions here because I want to make sure that it gets smoked out a little bit more, looks a little bit nice and smoky, but not too smoky. If you want to deepen it up even more, you could take an even smaller blending brush. This is a random brush, I don't know where I got it. In comparison, it's a lot smaller and it's also tapered on the end here. And this is going to concentrate the product, the color a little more closer and not so blown out. I'm gonna just demonstrate that really quick on the other eye, just to kind of give you an idea of what that'll do. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna apply it in the same area, but you're gonna see how concentrated the eyeshadow will be. So you notice how on this eye right here, the line is a little more harsher than this right here where it's very smoked out. You can, like I said, go back with a brush and just soften everything. And again, these are why brushes matter. So I'm gonna go back in with my M513, and this is the fluffier middle brush that we kind of use, and just blend this out. All right, so our eyeshadows are on. Now for a nice highlighting or like center of the lid color right here, I'm gonna be taking a gold, because girl love gold. For the center of my lid, I'm gonna use Inglot in the shade 25, and this is a nice golden color, so beautiful. Now the best way to apply these type of shimmery gold eyeshadows is not to use a fluffy brush like this, but we're gonna use a synthetic packing brush, something like this, with the Morphe M421 am not sponsored. Don't come for me. I just got a lot of brushes, okay? Brushes, okay? Reason I'm gonna take a brush like this is because it is packed in very tightly, so it is going to pick up the product a lot better. So as you can see, it's pretty full versus, here's another blending brush right here. I'm gonna pick some of that up. So it does pick up the product, but when you apply it on the skin, this kind of distributes it a little more. You can barely see it because it's all like crazy, but then this right here, this one applies it a little bit better. I don't know if y'all can see that, but this is with a synthetic brush and then this is with a fluffy brush, so you get the gist. Now to make things even pop a little bit more, a little trick that some of you may or may not know. For the people who do makeup, y'all know this step, y'all know this trick, but for all y'all that watch me that don't know these kinds of tricks, I'm gonna tell you right now. So what you want to do is take a little spray. You can either take water. I'm gonna use this random Garnier cooling facial mist. I love this stuff. It smells so good. I'm gonna use this and I'm actually going to take a little bit on the brush right here and then I'm going to spritz it. The reason why I want to spritz the brush and make the eyeshadow wet is because it's going to apply it and make it pop really nicely, and it's going to make it really super shiny, and that way you don't have to apply too much product. It's going to make it pop. Okay, let me show y'all. What I'm going to do is when you're applying these kinds of shimmery eyeshadow, you want to pat it in, not swipe. So what I'm going to do is pat. You see how that pigment goes out? Yes, boo-boo. A little bit wetter. Again, we're patting, not sweeping. And on the other side, I'm actually gonna take my finger right here. I'm gonna take my ring finger because it applies less amount of pressure than any other finger, and your eye is a very delicate area. So what I'm gonna do is take a little bit on my hand. And sometimes, like I said, your hands are like the best tool that you have. I'm gonna just pat it into the eye. You see that? Hello. The only thing about applying with your fingers is that it doesn't apply it as concentrated as you want it to be in certain areas. So I kind of got it a little bit on my darker eyeshadow, but that's okay, girl. Alright, so I feel like the eyes are definitely not complete because we haven't added lashes and liner and things like that, but I do want to work on the bottom lash line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in with that concentrated brush that I had here that I used on this eye. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to smoke out the bottom lash line. I'm going to take the Inglot 299 eyeshadow here, the dark brown, and I'm going to take some on my brush, but I'm going to tap it off, and then I'm just going to work it underneath on my lower lash line here. And a way I'm going to do that is you want to make this process as comfortable as possible, because I know a lot of people don't like touching this area right here. I'm going to hold my mirror up like that, so that way my iris, my little whatever, the black part of my eye is going to look up, and then I'm just going to move this back and forth on that lower lash line. A little nice, a little smoky. Hello, Russ. Come through, Russ. Do on the other eye. And sometimes doing an ugly face also helps too, so. Alright, so what I feel like doing, and this is just a personal thing that I'm going to do, is I'm going to take a little bit of eyeliner and I'm going to line my eyes. Alright, so I'm going to be using the Nars Larger Than Life Longwear Eyeliner in the shade Via Veneto. And I'm going to apply this to my waterline and to my tight line up here. Let's go. So the eyeshadow is pretty much done. Now all I'm going to do is finish it off. This is optional. I'm going to curl my lashes and apply mascara. Today I will be using, of course, my favorito, the Loreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Waterproof Mascara in Blackest Black. And I'm going to be using my Tweezerman eyelash curlers here. Let's go. Now, because I like to bump up my look a little bit more, I like to take some false lashes. So I have these Demi Wispies from Ardell, and I'm going to be taking my Duo Eyelash Glue. And if you want to see how to apply lashes, check the link somewhere up above here in the cards, and you will learn from your girl Chab, that's me, I'm Chab, on how to apply the lash. So I'm just going to apply my lashes. Alright guys, so this is the final look right here. So I've used different eyeshadows and different brushes, and I've shown you step by step on not only how to blend the eyeshadow, but also add a nice little pop of shimmer onto the lid so you go from drab to fab. It is super easy peasy, anybody can do it, and you can too. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and follow me on the others right here. You guys understand that? And ding ding, hit the notification bell because your girl make new videos every Friday. Hashtag Chab on Friday. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or what you would like to see next. As always, thank you for watching. Bye. Does anyone get where that reference is coming from? To apply and blend their eyeshadows. Hold my middle. It's super peasy. It is your girl make new videos every Friday. Hey, y'all didn't know I could sing, right?